Normally, after sketching the parabolic function, like the one that we are given here, what the examiners normally ask is for learners to give the domain or the range of that given function there. As you can see, the domain, we are talking about the x values, and we know the x values, we find them horizontally here. That horizontal movement gives us the x values, and the range, that is the y values, the vertical movement gives us the y values. So for me to give the domain, it's very simple. You can take your ruler, you can check from the left, you can see this graph is going on and on and on and on and on. It means it's coming from negative infinite, going where, you can check it with a ruler, you can see it's going on and on, it's going up to positive infinity. So I can write and say the domain, these are x values. You can say x is an element of all the real numbers, because I need all the numbers here. All the real numbers, that gives me the domain. X is an element of all the real numbers. But now when you look at the range, as I said, we talk of the vertical movement there. I can see where the graph is starting. My graph is starting at this y value, the minimum, which is negative 12,5, but it's going on up to infinity. So I can say the range y is an element of, I'm starting in this case from negative 12,5 up to positive infinity. But positive infinity is not a number that I can write down, so I leave the bracket open. Closed bracket here because negative 12,5 is part of the values, but infinite is a number that we cannot write down, so I leave the bracket open. So here it's an open bracket, but this side is a closed bracket. So we must always watch out for such questions. The domain, remember, we are talking about the x values, and as I can see, the graph is from negative infinity to positive infinity. I can also write it like this. X is an element of, open bracket, negative infinity to positive infinity using open brackets. I can also write it like that. Or I can say x is an element of real numbers because I am taking all the values from negative infinity to positive infinity. But with the range, I'm just repeating what I've said. We can see the graph is actually starting on the y values at negative 12,5. It's not starting at negative infinity, it's actually starting at negative 12,5, but it's going up to infinity. So that's how you can write down the domain as well as the range. Thank you.